The PinePhone Pro. So I got this thing a few days ago, and it is one of the most hands down exciting devices that I've ever got my hands on. Um, Smartphones, in my opinion at least, are where free software is needed the most right now because you can get it on your desktop, your laptop, your server. They can all run free software. The only thing that can't run free software is this thing. So I think this is really cool. I'm very excited about the future of smartphones and especially Linux smartphones in general. And just even now in its current state. So there's full disclosure on Pine64's site. They say it's not ready. I've used it for a little bit. I can say it's not ready either. I don't think it's ready either. There's still a whole heap of rough edges, but I mean, man, the amount of things this can do, even in its current state, is super impressive. It's literally a full Linux computer that fits in your pocket. That's what I like to think of it as. So it's not, I mean, it can receive calls, it can do texts, that stuff's just fine. I just consider it a full Linux computer that fits in my pocket and has an LTE connection. I mean, because that's pretty much what this is. I mean, the UI is a bit rough. There's some issues with scrolling speed, at least on Plasma Mobile. I haven't tried Phosh just yet, but I am kind of keen to do that. But yeah, I'm very happy, very happy. Waydroid. So that was one of the big things. I think if Waydroid gets all of its issues sorted out, this is going to be a real alternative as a daily driver because I mean, I love free software. I'm a free software advocate. The only thing is, I can't say that I only use free software because in the real world, there are proprietary apps people rely on. You think about banking apps, you think about social media, you think about any of that stuff. Like, I do have a social life, and a lot of my friends don't care as much for free software as I do. So if I want to keep in touch with them, I mean, you gotta have Instagram, you gotta have Snapchat, you gotta have things like that. So Android app compatibility is a big thing for this. I got Waydroid up and running on this at the moment. So this is the PinePhone Pro. The thing is, Waydroid does not actually work with hardware acceleration on the Pro. From what I've found out, it's because the image they're using is Android 10, and I think the graphics drivers for this device came in Android 11. So at the moment, I'm just waiting for them to update the image. Things that don't need hardware acceleration work fine, and I'll show you that in just a second. Shipping was pretty good. So it ships from Hong Kong, DHL Express, and it took about 6 days to get to where I am. I live in Australia, so I was very happy with shipping. But anyway, so at the moment I've got it running. I've installed Towboot, TOW boot, uh, alternative to U-boot. It's got some extra functionality that is pretty useful, and it's running Arch ARM with Plasma Mobile. So I'll give you guys a little look at that. Alright, so here I've just got the lock screen. It's pretty standard, very clean, I like it. Swipe up to put in your code, nothing too fancy there. And you're at the home screen. So at the moment I've got it running Arch ARM with Plasma 5.24. Now I think it comes with Manjaro by default with 5.23. Once you get it, you're gonna want to update because the time, even just in the time it takes to get from the factory to your door, I mean, there's so much new stuff that's gone on, there's so much new software that's out, you're gonna want to update as soon as you get it. So yeah, as far as the interface goes, to search, you just swipe down. It's pretty simple, it works, it's functional. I know it's different to an earlier version of Plasma because in this version, you have to swipe down. In the previous version, it was just there, and people were complaining because you'd click it and it'll bring you to a new menu, and it's like, well, why is it even there in the first place? So they pretty much fixed that. It's just a simple swipe down from anywhere in the screen. So the wallpaper, it works the same as Plasma Desktop. You click and hold on the desktop, and it'll let you click Configure Wallpaper. Just like Plasma Desktop, you've got to go into the settings and hit Add Image, which I think is a little unintuitive. It'd be nice if there was just a set wallpaper option. They added that in Desktop Plasma, so maybe maybe that'll come sometime in mobile Plasma, but other than that, it's pretty standard. You just click on the wallpaper you want, and there you go, it's done. Alright, so honestly, I think it's pretty feature complete with iOS and Android, just as a mobile operating system. So I'm not talking about apps. Of course, you've got all these proprietary apps that won't work. But in terms of feature set, so as a mobile device, it's got this little swipe down menu where you can toggle all these different things, and they all work. Okay, it's pretty cool. I mean, like the flashlight works. Let me just lift it up here so you can see. The auto rotate works. It's kind of buggy though, so I've got it disabled. But yeah, no, it's great. Like as a mobile operating system, it's feature complete with iOS and Android. So that was great to see. The app drawer. This little arrow here brings you to the app drawer. So as standard, it comes with Angelfish. This is the web browser, calculator, the calendar, the clock, Discover is there, all that good stuff. And most of these apps, I should say all of the apps that it comes with by default are like perfectly optimized for a mobile screen. So that's great to see. Alright, so settings. The settings app is pretty similar to Plasma Desktop in terms of what you're actually able to do with it. So you can do auto start, Bluetooth, colors, of course. Just like Plasma Desktop, you can choose your accent color, which is really cool. So if I want to change it to purple right there, I can go and do that, and it's done. So this is, I mean, it's pretty much KDE Plasma. It's great. Display configuration, because one of the cool things about this, you can actually hook up the USB-C to an external screen, and it'll turn itself pretty much into just a desktop computer. So yeah, you got the display configuration for that. Hotspotting, I have not tried. I'll probably do an update if I can get that to work. I don't know if it works or not. Icons, you can change the icon theme. I changed it to Papyrus. It's pretty cool. So I have changed it to Papyrus. Language information, so just to show you what I'm running, Arch ARM 5.24 right there. And so yeah, I mean, it's pretty much just like desktop Plasma, which is really cool. So to get back to the home screen, all you do is you press this little Plasma button in there, and this one on the left is multitasking view. So I can go ahead and open up, say, a terminal window, and if I go into the multitasking view, you can see I can switch between these ones like that. And if you want to get rid of one, tap the little X in the top and it goes away. Similarly, this X down here closes the app that you're currently in. So there's nothing in the multitasking view. It doesn't open up. Alright, so on the topic of the terminal, one of the great things about this, it is literally a Linux system. This terminal is fully complete and it fully works. It works great. So just run the obligatory neofetch here, and it's great. I mean, it's terrific. You can do whatever you do on a normal Linux system. It is fully open for you to do whatever you want. You have root access by default. It's your computer. Whatever a Linux desktop can do, this thing can do too, which is really good, really good. So the next thing that I want to show off with this is Waydroid. Now, I think Waydroid is really going to be the silver bullet for Linux smartphones. I mean, just the fact that we can run proprietary Android apps in a container on our Linux smartphones is really, really cool. And it's probably going to be the only way we're going to get those apps available on the Linux smartphone. I mean, I don't see banks or social media companies developing their proprietary apps for Linux. So I really think Waydroid is going to come in clutch here. So I'm just going to show that off to you now. So in my app drawer, you might already notice I do have some proprietary apps installed. So the great thing about Waydroid is that it actually adds the apps that you install on the Android container to your desktop, or rather your app drawer on the mobile device, as launches. So I've got Instagram, Spotify, Snapchat, the good old Clash Royale,
get in with the boys on that. Solo Park. Now, this is one that I absolutely rely on. In Australia, if you want to park somewhere that's a paid spot, it's, I mean, they require you to use a proprietary application. Can you believe it? So that's something that I'm really happy I got to work on this. So to boot up the container, you got this little Waydroid launcher over here. Just open that up. So the image that it uses is Lineage OS. So by default, there is no proprietary software on this image at all. It doesn't have Google App Services or the Play Store or anything like that. So in order to install apps from the Play Store, like Spotify and Snapchat and Instagram and all that, you can get F-Droid. And then on F-Droid, there's this thing called the Aurora Store, which is pretty much just a free software client for the Google Play Store. So that's where I got all my stuff from. Now, the first time that you launch Waydroid, after booting up the phone, it'll be a bit slow. But once the container is spun up, it actually is pretty quick to reopen. So as you can see, it's running a full Android thing in here. Now, as I said before, hardware acceleration does not work at the moment. Waiting for Android 11 on that, but for the moment, it's, as you can see, it's a little bit laggy. I mean, what do you expect when you don't have hardware acceleration? And it does kill the battery life because the CPU is doing a lot of work doing software rendering for all this stuff. But yeah, no, it's cool. So if you just head on over to your app drawer, we'll try launching an application. So say, for example, I wanted to have a look at Spotify. So you can see it just boots up Spotify in the Waydroid container, which is really, really cool. And it works fine. I've tested it out. It works great. Took it to the gym. I mean, yeah, it streams DRM music fine. It's great. So if you were wanting Spotify, it works fine on the PinePhone with Waydroid. So let's go ahead and try something else. So for something like the Aurora Store, I'll show that off at the moment. So like I said, it's a free software client for the Google Play Store. You can install any application that's on the Play Store on this thing, like WhatsApp, Instagram, Messenger, TikTok, if you want that. I mean, installing too many proprietary apps does kind of defeat the point of a Linux smartphone. It's just for the ones that you absolutely need and it doesn't have a native alternative, this is a really great option. And currently, Waydroid is the only way that you're going to get these apps. So all of the ones that I have installed here work fine, albeit without hardware acceleration. So believe it or not, Clash Royale actually does start, it does run, it just runs really bad. I am not going to show you Instagram because obviously my home screen's got some personal stuff on it. Discord works fine. It's great. It's great. I cannot wait for hardware acceleration to come in on this. Once it does, it'll be absolutely killer. And I think even with some of the rough edges on the UI, I might be able to test this as a daily, which I am really excited for. So that's pretty much a look at the phone. I mean, there's not much else you can really say about it. It's a phone. I mean, it does stuff. File browsing is really cool on this. So it's, yeah, you've got full root access right from the get-go. You can do whatever you want. Actually, something cool that I did manage to get working on this, I run a FreeBSD server, and I was actually able to mount the storage that I've got on that as a remote storage on this with SSHFS. So anything that a desktop Linux system can do, this can do too. You can also, of course, SSH into this device, which I'll actually show off in just a second. But yeah, on the phone itself, I mean, there's not much else I can say. It's a phone. It does it just fine. Waydroid works just fine. I'll probably show off how to install that in a separate video, but yeah, no, it's quite good. I'm quite happy with it.
All right, so we're back over here on the desktop, and I want to demo to you guys how flexible this device really is. So as I've been saying this whole video, it's a full Linux system. You can go ahead and SSH into it. Here you go. There you go. Pine 64 Pine Pro. Yeah, so SSH is just fine. If we want to have a look at the resources this system is using, I went ahead and installed HTOP. So KDE Plasma Mobile is pretty lean. I mean, we're running a Linux system here. It's going to be lean. I was just wondering how lean it was going to be. So you can see we're running at about 560 megabytes of RAM usage on this. I think Plasma Desktop is around about 600 to 700. So this is actually pretty nice. You can see CPU usage is pretty low across the board. The thing is off at the moment though. So let's see, I'm going to go ahead and just go to the home screen. So this is it idling on the home screen. So I mean, yeah, it's pretty lightweight. You can. I was actually wondering whether or not 4 GB of RAM on this was going to be enough. Because again, I was thinking of it as in like this is a full computer, and I forget that it's a smartphone, but it's also running Linux, so it's going to be very lean. And I'm convinced that 4 GB is going to be totally fine. How many apps are you going to have running at any given moment anyway? I mean, it is a full Linux computer, but it is also a smartphone. You're usually only going to be having probably at most 3 apps or 4 apps running, and with how lean this thing is, just as an OS, I think 4 GB is totally fine. So updating and installing programs, very simple. It's literally just like Arch Linux on the desktop. So if I wanted to install a program, or I'll show you updating the system, it's just that. It's just that. Sudo pacman syu, and it'll update your full system for you. So very cool. If I want to install, let's say I want to install Calsay, just because why not? Just like that. I mean, it's terrific. It's terrific. There's no other mobile operating system where you can do that. And there you go. That's my phone says it's neat, so I think it is. Now, one more thing that I am really happy about with this. So I pretty much run my own private cloud. I've got my own home server, and at boot time, all of my computers mount the network, like a network folder. We're using SSHFS. So if you don't know what SSHFS is, I definitely consider having a look at it. It's really cool. It essentially allows you to use SSH to mount a file system. And so I've got all of my remote computers set to do that with my home server for my own cloud. So I have this folder, RFS, and I have inside that, I've got archives and library. So I'll show you that they're empty at the moment because nothing is mounted there. But what is really cool, I have this little script here, mount RFS. If it'll let me do it here. Oh, okay. So it looks like I do have to set something real quick. But this is a good opportunity to show off how extensible this system really is because I have Vim on this. So if I want to edit a setting on my phone, that's like a operating system level Linux configuration file. I'm using Vim on my smartphone. So that is pretty damn cool. So go ahead and do that and try running it again. Yes, of course I do. And let's have a look at this again. There you go. So there you go. And I can cat my little notice here. And there you go. That's my remote server file system mounted on my smartphone, and I can actually access it from Dolphin on my smartphone. So that's really sweet. So yeah, I mean, I'll head on over to my closing thoughts on this. It's great. Rough edges though. So let me sort of lay out all the rough edges on this thing. The Even with hardware acceleration, Plasma Mobile is not smooth. It's not smooth. It has some hiccups. For the most part, it's serviceable, but like I said, don't expect iOS or Android level of smooth scrolling on this. At least not yet. Battery life is hot garbage. So I installed Talboot, which was supposed to fix the suspend issues on this and give it a bit longer of a battery life. Even with that fix, battery life is garbage. I want to say 5 hours with the screen off. I've got TLP installed as well. So that's another thing you can go ahead and do is you can go ahead and install TLP on this thing to try and get more life out of it. It's not there, but optimizations will come. That's the thing. So the optimizations are coming. They will come. This isn't a completed product. And this kills it as a daily driver at the moment for me, but they never promised that. They never promised that. I'm just really keen to see all the sorts of things I can do with this, and I think, honestly, I think it was worth it. I think it was fully worth it. And if you're like me, if you are interested in the development status of Linux smartphones, if you like free software, if you're keen to see free software on these devices where it is the most important, I mean, because if you think about where you're getting tracked the most, it's a smartphone. It's a smartphone. I mean, I think it's funny that Apple has all of their like pro privacy ads and things and whatever, but I mean, it's all closed source software, and a lot of people make their smartphone their actual. I mean, they make their smartphone their life. They put everything on there. They put their photos of all of their sensitive things. I mean, you just look at stuff that's happened in the past, like the iCloud leak. People put whatever on their smartphones, and they carry them around everywhere they go. And it's pretty much, I mean, we all know that it's taking your location data and transmitting it back. I mean, yeah, smartphones, in my opinion, are some of the most personal devices that you can have today. And up until now, they all ran proprietary software where you had no idea what was going on with that device. So I am super excited, even just in the state that it is. I think it is totally worth it. I want to see how this develops. I'm interested in being involved in the development of this. I want to help them smooth out all the rough edges, but also I wanted to support them financially too, because the best way to support mobile Linux is just buy a phone. Just buy a phone. Show them that there are people who want this to happen and are willing to put their money behind it. So that's why I bought this. It's not ready for daily driving. They never said it would be ready for daily driving. I'm really happy with it anyway. So yeah, in my opinion, I mean, I don't do much on my phone. I know a lot of people do a lot of work on their phone. I never really. So in order for this to suit my needs, what needs to happen? Not really a lot. So the power management needs to be fixed. It needs to last at least, I mean, I'm happy to make sacrifices for freedom. I've done that in the past. I did that on, like, all of my computers run Linux. I avoid proprietary software wherever I can. I'm happy to make sacrifices. I'm happy to use a system where the scrolling's not completely smooth if it means that I'm not being tracked. So I would need the power management to be sorted out. So it could last at least a day. So I charge it overnight. I go where I go for the day, and then when I get home, it runs out of power. It needs to last the whole day. I don't need a 3-day battery life. I'm happy to make that sacrifice, but it needs to last the whole day. It doesn't. Second thing that needs to happen, Waydroid hardware acceleration on the Pro. I know on the regular PinePhone, Waydroid actually has hardware acceleration, but on this device, as I showed you, not there yet. and you can tell when you're using the apps. You can tell. So and I mean that's coming very soon. I'm very excited for that. Once they upgrade to Android 11, theoretically we should have Hardware Excel on this. So yeah, power management and Waydroid hardware acceleration, and I would be able to give this, maybe just take it as a daily driver for a week and see how it goes. Because I'm happy to make some compromises, but yeah, no, it's very exciting. The development is going super fast. I'm really happy where this is going because, like I said, I mean, phones are where free software is needed the most. So that's pretty much my thoughts on the PinePhone Pro. If you're looking for a new daily driver, probably not for you. If you're an enthusiast like me and you know your way around a Linux system, and you're excited about where this is going, you want to be involved in the development, and you're interested in supporting them financially to show that you're interested in, it's great. It's great. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the PinePhone Pro. I think it's great. I'm really happy with it, and I'm very excited to see where it goes. So yeah, see ya.